The Israeli military is planning for a possible U.S. strike on Iran before the president leaves office. That comes from the news site Axios. Meantime, the Associated Press reports that Iran has ordered its allies to hold off on provocative actions, at least they give the United States a reason to strike. Nile Gardiner, former advisor to the late Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and director of the Margaret Thatcher Center for the Freedom at the Heritage Foundation. Nile, good to see you as always. If that reporting by the AP is right, that Iran has told their allies to hold off, perhaps the saber-rattling is working.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, Leland. Thanks for having me on the show today. And without a doubt, I think there are very significant tensions at the moment between the United States and Iran. And the U.S. has put the Iranian regime on notice. And let's bear in mind that Iran has been hit extremely hard by U.S. sanctions over the course of the last 4 years. The maximum pressure campaign implemented by President Trump has been very successful. This is a greatly weakened regime in Tehran at this time. And so the United States certainly, I think, has had the right approach towards the Iranian regime, a complete reversal of the former appeasement approach of the Obama-Biden.
Which one should the Iranians fear? A President Trump looking to may have a strike that then puts a new Biden administration into the position of having to finish the job, if you will? Or should the Iranians fear Israel and Saudi Arabia, worried themselves that they're not going to have the same kind of lockstep backup in a U.S. President Biden that they did in President Trump, and they might strike?
Well, I think, firstly, the United States under President Trump has always said that all options are on the table with regard to any kind of action against Iran. That doesn't mean that an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities are imminent. But of course, the U.S. always has plans in place as a last resort. Now, with regard to Israel, they have deep-seated concerns, of course, about Iran's nuclear program, as does the United States. And the Israelis reserve the right as well to strike against Iran's nuclear facilities. And let's not forget that Iran's stockpile of uranium is 12 times the accepted limit. So Iran is in complete violation of all previous agreements. This is a regime that is absolutely determined.
I spent years in the Middle East waiting for the Iran strike that never happened. Canceled so many vacations when the war drums were beating. Just real quick, and we want to get back to this issue of Saudi Arabia and Israel being so more closely aligned than they were 4 years ago. This from Business Insider. Quoting a NATO official, "I'm afraid the Saudis or Israelis might see a sympathetic ear leaving the White House and a hostile one arriving and think perhaps this will make a confrontation inevitable." Is the proposed Biden plan of going back to the Iran deal make the Middle East more dangerous or less?
I think if the United States returns to the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, the JCPOA, we will have a far more dangerous world, a far more dangerous Middle East. Yeah. It will embolden the Iranian regime.
Well, you agree with that. The Israelis agree with that, and the Saudi ambassador to the UN told me he didn't think anyone would be naive enough to go back to it. Nile, thank you.
Thanks for watching the Heritage Foundation's YouTube channel. With more than 500,000 members, we are the nation's largest conservative research and education institution. We believe the principles and ideas of the American founding are worth conserving and renewing. Please help us further our mission by subscribing to this channel and sharing our videos with your family and friends.